Couple weeks. Bob, thank you. Bob Pisani at the New York Stock Exchange. Going back to, I don't know where you want to start because there's so many things that are very important about what the SEC said today that clears the way for, let's say, Ether, right? To have futures.
So that's what the CBOE at the same conference said today that this clears one of the hurdles for them to have futures on Ethereum. Think about it the other way. If you're an investment director at a pension fund or an endowment, over the last year thought about allocating to this space, and the first thing you say is, well, you know what if this thing is really an unregistered security? Well, I better not invest in it. Now that hurdle's gone. So this is really big news. It's a green light for cryptocurrency. It's a green light for crypto assets as an asset class. There's some clarity. I mean, how many times have I stood up at the smart board this year and said, what's hurting Bitcoin? What's hurting Ether? Regulatory and clarity. We have clarity now. It's very clear when these are securities, when they're commodities.
We also have clarity now on utility tokens, right? Versus other sorts of ICOs. But the interesting thing about this, though, is we've talked to Asif Hirji many times of Coinbase about when he would list other coins. And the sticking point had always been whether or not these coins are securities or not securities. Now that we have that clarity, if they do list utility tokens, are those worth the investment even?
Well, it depends what, I mean, it depends what the utility token's for,
right? To be used within that network.
But then they should be securities.
No, not necessarily. I mean, it's like saying that if I buy a bottle of wine, right, should that be a security? Because I think that the bottle of wine is going to appreciate in price over the next couple of years? Not really.
Well, my understanding, though, is what they're saying is if the expectation is that I'm buying something that I think is going to go up in value, then, in fact, it's a security. But if I'm buying something that's purely a utility, then it's not. But the bottom line is
the third-party test.
95% of these of the trading in ICOs is all for.
I would think of it more. To me, I look at it more as they go from a security to a commodity, similar to we speculate in oil, we speculate in gold, right? And so if it's used primarily to operate the system, and you don't have a third party that you're relying on to make money, that is simply a speculation, then that is more like a commodity than it is a security.
What does that mean for like an XRP? An XRP, from the way I understand it, it's a technology solution that you don't necessarily need to use the coin to transact on the platform. So what happens to an XRP? How does a Ripple?
So XRP, I think, is still in limbo here. And there is a case on XRP on whether or not it's going to be a security. And I think we're going to have to wait for that. A lawsuit. I'm sorry. A lawsuit on whether or not XRP is a security. I think for that particular coin, we're going to have to wait on it because there's a relationship between Ripple the coin and Ripple the company. We can argue about how close that is, but that's the sticking point.
Is there any trade in your view in terms of some of the...
So I've covered this in a previous Bloomberg, and it is interesting that Ether is much more clear with the regulations because the owners don't own such a large amount. In any crypto, the whole idea is decentralization and to prevent just a few people having a large influence and control over the currency, because obviously they can influence the price, whether they dump it or pump it or whatever. So this is kind of good that the government is not clear with Ripple and they're going to put pressure, but I'm not very worried about Ripple because I feel like they're very good at being compliant with governments and they'll figure out a way. I've shared plenty of content with the CEO of Ripple and he seems like a very shrewd and smart guy. So I feel like they will address it, but for now, maybe the price of Ripple will suffer. So that might be an opportunity for you guys. For me, I've mentioned in previous videos, I'm not really increasing my position in Ripple, but I'm not selling it. And for this dip, I've been just buying a lot of Ethereum, almost equal amount of Ethereum to Bitcoin for now. And I probably should make a move and start picking up some EOS, Cardano, and some of the competitors. I just haven't done it, but I will do it soon. But let me know your thoughts on this and what you guys think, and I will talk to you soon.